I'm in a lot of groups here. Just try to spam the. There we go. What's up, Jake? How you doing, Bruddy? Tuesday Brews Day. 40 Creek. Some whiskey, good old Canadian whiskey. I'm having a hard time drinking beer lately, so I'm just sticking with the liquor. Dun, dun, dun. Texas represent. Gotta do the Frank. HOARDER is playing. What's up, all you sick fuckers? You sick fuckers! Feeling good tonight, everybody. How you feeling tonight? Yeah, man, this is fucking Flesh Hoarder. Excuse me. I just finished supper. Yeah, Texas brutal death metal. We love death metal. We love brutal death metal. I like a smidgen of slam. Smidgen. But brutal death metal has always been one of those genres that's attracted me just because it's faster, it's heavier, the vocals are deadlier, the breakdowns are fucking crazier. And when you do it right, like these guys, you make those breakdowns worthy when they hit. You know, like slam, I get it. You know, the breakdowns rule. But when it's the whole thing of breakdowns, I don't know, man, it loses itself. But when you throw in brutal riffs like this and change it up, cool stops, fucking fun blasts and everything, and then all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, you fucking break it down, then it's worthy. Then those are worthy breakdowns, man. And that's the one thing. Like, I love brutal death metal. I love fucking brutal death metal. Like, New Standard Elite, like, you know, that style, right? Where it's just fucking, not even, sometimes pingy, a little too pingy sometimes with the snare. But I grew up, and we chatted with the guys from Ohio about, like, the early brutal stuff. When, you know, like early Fetus, Eternal Bleeding, and then it went into the 90s, right? So then you had United Guttural Records. They were putting out Rotting, Deaden, Skinless, Devourment, like Ton, Waco Jesus. Waco's more grindy, but there was, and United Guttural and, oh no, Unmatched Brutality, which is, I believe it's the bass player from Brodequin's label, and he put out a lot of crazy shit too. So Unmatched Brutality, if you want to check out that old label, the best. The early brutal death metal is fucking where it's at, man. And honestly, like these guys, they've captured that. They got the catchy riffs, like I said, the catchy riffs, fun stops. Like early Cryptopsy, they had fun stops, right? Blast, right? These guys have fun stops, man. And see, right there, that proves it right there. Mike's wearing Suffocation. Fucking Pierced from Within. That album. Oh, see? And then it happens. And then it happens. And then you're like, holy shit. So, Just want to pull out, I got a little package in the mail today, courtesy of our buddies at HOARDER Records. We got some Canadian here. These guys put these tapes out a few years ago. They all sold out. And, I'm gonna cut myself doing that. What's going on here? Oh, dude. This is ridiculous. So, HOARDER Records out of Montreal, they went ahead and pretty much found oh, it's ridiculous. And knows the early Montreal scene. So obviously, just like any scene, any country, any state, any city or whatever, there's a batch of bands. There's a handful that get a name, and then there's the other 20 or 30 that kind of sat in the background, and one thing or another, they didn't go ahead, right? So HOARDER, HATROSS, out of Montreal, I'm telling these guys, you got to get these fucking tapes re-released. This is unbelievable. So, Morecambe was one of those bands that I was trying to find for the last 25 years. Literally, it was on a Canadian compilation, and I didn't have a track listing. I just knew the band was Morecambe, but I didn't know how to spell it. So for years and years, I've been trying to find who these guys are and blah, blah, blah. Finally, HOARDER Records, fucking, you came through. I literally can't believe this, man. This is one of the greatest, cool Canadian death metal demos. It's so raw and just brutal. It's fucking brutal. Can I not read this? Antonizer? That's kind of hard to see. But, Jesus. Cadaverosity? Hope you guys can see this. Cadaverosity? Holy shit. What's this? Oath Div 666. See, I'm getting schooled here. I'm getting schooled on a couple. Obnoxious. Sorry. Obnoxious. HOARDER Records. HOARDER. Oh man, there it is. Cadaverosity again. See, I gotta get familiar with these bands, man. Hyborian. They were Morecambe. So, just as fucking deadly. Just as deadly, man. Hyborian. I know, you kind of have to spell it out with some of these. Yeah, Antonizer. That's how it looks, I guess. Chaosic. Oh, see, there's another one. This band keeps popping up all the time in the Canadian scene. So, this is unbelievable. Chaosic. HOARDER Records, guys. I'm literally blown away right now. Where is it? That Morecambe is unbelievable. You do not understand how much I've been trying to find this. And you guys re-released it. But I'm assuming a lot of it's sold out right now, unfortunately. I don't know if any of those guys are watching. Yeah, HOARDER Records, man. Yeah. Oh, you toured with Brodequin? Oh my god, that would have been unbelievable. So yeah, HOARDER Records, man. So get your stuff re-released again. because I know it's a bunch of it is sold out, and I absolutely in debt to you for what you pulled out of your ass. I'm in debt. I'm literally, it's unbelievable, man. You made me so happy. Because again, it was one of those days where it was just like, oh man, there's a lot to do. I've actually been pretty busy lately with putting together some new releases for CDN Records. So we're doing layouts and fixing up the music. So yeah, Grotesque Infection is coming out on tape. The Consumption of Human Feces. And we have Master Witch Hunt album, first time on tape. So yeah, that's coming out. So I was working on that today, and I've been staring at this Hatros Records box since yesterday, and it's been killing me because I want to obviously unbox it for you guys and just show you what's up. But Canadian label, man, we gotta fucking support. But anyways, brutal death metal, Flesh Hoarder. These guys are freaking ridiculous. So, let's go over here. I'm not even ready. Gaja, 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 gaja. I love it. I love the gaja gunjung. Do bum do bum do. Oh, where'd he go? There he is. There we are. Yeah, bud.
What's up?
Hey, man. Hey, you want to turn your phone sideways so we can see more of your beautiful face?
Yes, how's that? Is it better?
Yeah, but it's not flipping now.
Here. Let me hook that up.
There we go. There we
go. Yeah.
What's going on? What's up, man?
How's it going, my bro? You doing all right?
Yeah, down here in Canada, or up here in Canada. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's nice out. Kids are good. Kids are good. Family's good. I think we're doing all right.
That's good, man. Same here. Down here in Texas, trying to just trying to hang in there, best we can, and same here. Family's good. Everybody's doing best we can, man. We're doing all right.
Good, man. Good. I know. With all this shit going down, we all got to keep a positive attitude somehow, right?
Yes, that's a good factor right there, man. It's just to try to stay positive and to bring some positivity, into the fold when things are seem to be down and out. It's good to smile and just just try to bring some happiness, some sort of happiness into the picture, man. I always do that, everywhere I go. So that's a good thing to do, man.
And you have kids yourself, right?
Yes, I got a few kids. I got a daughter and I got a few boys.
Right on, yeah. And myself, I have a 20-year-old boy and a 14-year-old boy, and they know what's going on in the world, and they know it's kind of fucked up right now. So it's good to have the kids around too, because then that gives you an excuse to get that positivity out, because you don't want to show the kids that, everything's fucked up, we're fucked, things are sucking right now, and just dwelling on the bad, right?
Totally with it, man. Yeah, my youngest, my little boy here, my oldest, I should say, my little boy he's 6. So he kind of understands, something's going on.
Yeah.
Something's going on, and my littlest one's 3, and he's pretty oblivious to everything going on right now. So he's always happy running around, and it's good to see that. And as a dad and mom, we just try to be there for them, as best we can. And, as many families around, the country are just trying to do the best we can under the circumstances. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly,
Yeah.
man, exactly. And it's nice that we have our kids around. Like I said, man, it just gives us the excuse to get out of that funk. And there's more to life other than just dwelling on the bad. We know it's there. There's not much, unfortunately, we can do, and we need to protect our families.
That's totally true, and like everybody has their own way of wanting to protect their families with guns and and all that. But particularly me, I'm not really a gun kind of guy.
Me
I'd
neither.
rather just I'd rather is fortunately where I live in Texas, it's a small little town. It's a city, but it's not like Austin or Dallas or anything. It's more of a we're definitely a good local community, and everybody seems to watch out for everybody here, and it's better that way. I'd rather kind of stay away from the violence, and I'd rather just kind of just do my own thing. And I love to smoke weed, so I like to just I'll toke it down and just chill out here at home. I'd rather do that than go out and get involved in anything that I really don't have any part of. I'd rather just chill out and do my thing, man.
Exactly. And you brought up the good point of smoking some weed, especially nowadays, man. We need a little bit of extra just to help us coast sometimes during this shit.
Yeah, it's I'm not a big drinker. A lot of my friends know I've never been one to just always drinking beer or at the bar. I've always been just a guy with a joint in my hand and ready to fire it up and just take it easy, and just try to get everybody high, and chill out, man. So
yeah,
and,
totally.
and like you said, having the kids around, it's great because during the whole quarantine, I was able to to go back and watch movies, from my childhood that my boys have never seen. So I got to show them a lot of good old school, 80s and 90s flicks from from back in the day, and they were loving, Short Circuit and Harry and the Hendersons, and some even some like Friday the 13th, just some good wholesome American horror or classics, man. So it's been good. It's been good. They love it. It's good for everybody.
It is though, man. And the world kind of needed to step back a little bit and refocus things. And because everything's just going by so fast. It's so busy. It's getting busier as the years go. And not that I wanted any of this shit to happen, but it was almost inevitable that sooner or later the earth is almost going to just reset itself because it's just shit's going down.
It is, man. It's crazy, and I gotta say, in 2019, I was just and just like everyone else, was stoked for 2020. I was like, fuck, we made it to 2020. I remember telling my dad, Dad, we did it. We're here in 2020. We're alive. And then things just took a turn for the worst. And it just seems like everything just, starting in January, you had Neil Peart from the almighty Rush, pass away. And it was just the beginning of so many bad things. We lost a lot of drummers. The dude from Death passed away, and it just was just a trickle of just bad shit, for this year, and they say the year's not over, and like you said when we started, I'm trying to stay positive, maybe something good could come out of the year. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully something will positive will come out of this year. But so far, it's just been, it's been a lot of against us, and us trying to push through everything and persevere through it all. And that's what we've all been trying to do. Some people chose to go out and riot and protest, and I'd rather, like I said, just stay out of all that and let all that pass, and just try to get back to just being friendly and neighbors and, you know, fucking hanging in there, man. You know what I mean? Just trying to be cool to one another, you know?
Have you
That's
noticed,
what we fucking need,
have you noticed people talking to each other a little more lately?
I mean, I guess, yeah, I could say that. Like when I go to the grocery store, I could see, like, you know, like here in my town, just people, you know, being a little bit more friendly with one another, you know,
Yeah.
being more chilled out, which is really good because, you know, anytime I go into the grocery store, you know, I always try to say hi, how's it going, you know, have a good day, just, you know, the basic common courtesy of, you know, being inside a grocery store in general, and, you know, so you know, I could see a little bit more of that for sure, you know, these last few days. It's definitely been a little bit more chiller, but it seems like in these bigger cities, it's just, it's a little crazy.
I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, me neither. I would rather talk.
All right, let's talk about death metal. Let's talk about death metal. Your top 5 death metal albums right now. Go.
Oh man, top 5 death metal albums. That's a good one. All right, we'll start with number 1. Let's go 1 to 5.
Okay.
Number 1 will probably be Cannibal Corpse, The Bleeding.
Ooh.
Number 2, Morbid Angel, Blessed Are the Sick. Number 3, Deicide, Legion. Number 4, Obituary, Cause of Death. And number 5, we're gonna go right back to where we started, and that's Cannibal Corpse. And I'll probably go with probably Vile. Love that album.
Wow, Vile, eh?
Yeah.
No shit. Why? Just because it was Corpse Grinder's new band, and he actually they sounded like a new band almost with him.
I mean, that was part of the reason, but I'll say Vile because just where I was at in my life when that album came out, it just really stuck with me. And, you know, to this day, I can put it on, and it's just one of those albums that takes me back to that time and era of where I was at when I was jamming. And, you know, it's just, you can just sit there and air guitar all the riffs all day long. So, yeah, Vile for sure. But The Bleeding is number 1. I mean, that's just, it's because it's a classic, and it's just, you know, it's my number 1 fave, man.
But why The Bleeding, though? That's like, I mean, everybody, I'm a Butchered guy myself. Butchered at Birth is probably my favorite Cannibal, and probably one of my favorite albums. I like Tomb of the Mutilated, and then I like The Bleeding. It's just because The Bleeding is clean. That was the only thing that I kind of got weirded about, and it had those, you know, a lot of slower parts. But I mean, it's still like an unbelievable album. Those riffs are just, everything about that is catchy.
Like, I'll choose The Bleeding because for me, it was like, and I'm sure a lot of other folks, I'm sure they'll say that it's like Cannibal Corpse's breakthrough album. It was, you know, it was like kind of the one that was like, all right, solidified what the band was, you know, coming into, you know, for sure at that time. They went through, you know, Eaten Back to Life and Tomb of the Mutilated, Butchered at Birth, and all of those were unique from one another. And then you got to The Bleeding, and it was like, okay, this is what we're, you know, going to sound like. It was a clean production. It kind of gave notes of everything Alex Webster was doing on that bass guitar, you know, and then on top of all that, the you know, all the albums, but for sure, The Bleeding just had the riffs, like these riffs that just, you know, timeless, classic, you know, death metal riffs, and you know, you got Strip, Rape, and Strangle, you know, and to this day, when Cannibal Corpse comes on, even Hammer Smash Face, when Strip, Rape, and Strangle, you know, that comes on, and you just want to jump in that pit, you know, you just want you know all the words, you know, everybody sings along. It's just
totally.
That album was a classic, fucking best one, man, for me.
They think they know who I am. All I know is I like to kill. Face down, dead on the ground. Find me before another is found.
You know, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. It's the thickest. It's so thick, yeah. Good stuff, man. Classic death metal riff. Make you want to just punch the shit out of the person right next to you.
It literally, honestly, man, like that. And like you said, Alex Webster, right?
Yeah. Like it's cool because when they play nowadays, it seems like they're almost a little more down tuned. So it's just heavier. It seems like it's brutal, man. It's good stuff.
Well, yeah.
Slower even almost.
Yeah. Well, because most of their stuff now is super down tuned. So whatever they play the old stuff, which is usually a higher tuning, right? It all sounds way heavier.
So it's exactly right. The later albums, they got into the more down tuned stuff, and it just got heavier and heavier as it went on, man.
So Flesh Hoarder, when did you guys get this going?
All right, Flesh Hoarder, awesome, man. Some good Texas death metal. We started in probably about 2010, 2011, and it was like a backseat conversation. We were hanging out at a show in San Antonio, and it was a couple of the guys, me and a couple of the guys, and we were part of probably Up to No Good, on the backseat of a car in San Antonio, and I remember we were just having a conversation about getting together and starting a fresh new band, because we were all in bands and we all played together in different bands. We were always in the scene together, so it just kind of was like it was meant to be. Let's start our own band, and it's been a blast to this day. We're about to release some really big news here in the next couple of days, so you're the first one to hear it. That we got some big news that we're going to be unleashing in the next few days, and it's definitely something that could be a stepping stone and in the more right direction for some good Texas death metal, man. And we're definitely stoked. We're about to finish up album number 2, and it's been a blast, man. It's just a bunch of Mexican dudes making death metal. It's the best.
Well, because the EP came out like 7 years ago or something like that, and then your album came out a year and a half ago or something. Why?
Yeah, about 2 years ago. Yeah, and let's go back to the EP real quick. Shout out to my friend Blue from Dysentery and Sexcrement, and who's also plays in a band called Fit for an Autopsy now. And he put out the EP back in the day on Dilapidated Enterprise, his record label, and big shout out to Blue. Good guy, man. Been a friend of ours a long time. And then we got with Comatose Music, and we put out the first album about 2 years ago. And Steve and Comatose, nothing but the best. Steve's a great dude. Been working with him with my old band Disfigured for a long time. So it's been good. And now we're gonna be we're going to be announcing some good news for the band and working with the next album, man. So it's been busy. Even during the quarantine, we've been trying to get together the last few weeks on our downtime on a Friday night and just hash out the new album and just trying to make it as sick as possible, man. It's going to be great.
So you're still putting it together, right?
It's done. It's finished. It's the drums are tracked. And the album is it's ready to go. Our other guitar player Angel and our drummer Renee are pretty much the main songwriters, because I've been out with the Illegals, a lot. Mm-hmm. And while I'm out doing my thing, it's been great because they've been busy doing their thing. And when I was done, wrapping things up with the Illegals at the end of the year, I was kind of able to come in January and kind of start learning everything that they have been working on. And they're finished up the second album, man. And it's a step in the right direction. If you like the first album, which was brutal, this is going to be even, it's just going to be heavier. It has riffs. It's 2020. It's good to hear death metal riffs and it's blast beats and some chunks and some Texas groove in it, man. So it's gonna be awesome.
Because I like the EP, the music and the way everything's put together. But the album that you guys, what's the name of the album that just came out?
Homicidal Necrophile. Right.
The production on that accentuates the riffs and the drums on that, which I really like. And like I mentioned earlier, you guys are tight as fuck, and you have the coolest stops. Like Cryptopsy back in the day had those cool little stops, the fucking little ting, but a dang, da. You guys throw that in there too, which, and again, like I said earlier, it's interesting until you get to that fucking one chunkin' breakdown, which kind of just blows everybody out of the water, and it's like, okay, all right, this is worth it.
Fuck, dude. That's a really good description of the tunes right there. That's pretty dead on, man. It's just like a roller coaster ride of brutality, and then it just comes to a face smashing halt, and then it's just like chewed up for the pigs, just fucking, nice and chunky, and just just unrelenting heaviness, man. We fucking, it's good stuff. We have fun playing these tunes, and just like the Cannibal Corpse, we're using, in their later albums, we're using the 7-strings, so we're really going for that low end, but still audible, still able to hear what we're achieving, and it's not just muddy. It's, we want to make sure it's still old school and fucking heavy, man.
Yeah, but you guys are making riffs that stand out. I know there's, the brutal death metal scene, it's fucking massive now. Like, Comatose, New Standard Elite, and stuff like that. But a lot of it is almost like it's so heavy sometimes where you just can't hear anything. Like, it's good, but it's almost too much sometimes, right? And a lot of the riffs just get so muddied, and you can't hear anything. But you guys, you break up the riffs, and you can hear everything.
That's a really good point. There's so many good bands out there, and like when people talk about shredding and like talk about metal and fast playing on guitar and like technical music and stuff, like, that's great. That's fun. It's good you can shred, and it's good that you can play, a million notes per hour. But it's also good when you can write a riff that the other person listening is gonna remember, and that's what we're going for. We want to make sure that there's riffs in there. It's not just a jumble of notes, and it's and just real muddy production. It's more of like focused. Right. We're focusing on and being picky about the notes we're playing, and just trying to make riffs again and bring back and just bring back a good time of just death metal and understanding of what's going on and whatnot, and still be fucking heavy as shit, but like just not a muddy mix, not a jumble of notes, just more of a focused rhythm and fucking and death metal, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what would you say are some of your influences in brutal death metal? You already gave your top 5, which is the old school, but obviously this new style is, a few years ahead. So what were some of the albums that influenced you for the brutal side?
Oh man, for me personally, I'm gonna have to go with some more of the old school, but like my favorite death metal guitar player, and this dude right here, I praise so much on guitar. And there's 2 guys, but the number 1 is gonna have to go with Bob Vigna from fucking Immolation. Oh. You know what I mean? He's just a mastermind of riffs. He knows what he wants to get across with what he's doing, and that influences me so much to just want to achieve that, just something that's gonna be like fucking headbanging, and just want to just crunch, man. And then the other guitar player would be Trey from Morbid Angel. He's just a wizard of fucking riffs. So albums from, Immolation, albums from Morbid Angel, Cryptopsy, None So Vile, like you said, it's more spasmodic riff playing, but the riffs are still there, the notes are still there, and you know what the next part's gonna be, you know what the next break, that's, like albums like that are definitely what influenced me, and in my mind thought personally, going into anything I'm writing, whether it be for any band or any project. It's just, you want to get that good soulful closeness as best you can, man.
Ah, totally. And it's all about the memorable riffs. And that's the thing, too. Like you said, you can shred a million notes at a time and it's super impressive. But will I remember anything that you played afterwards? Probably not. But if you slow
Probably not.
Yeah. Totally.
But like if you take that a million notes and break it down into like 100 notes, you probably would remember a lot of those 100 notes way more than you would a million notes. It's just more meaningful. You're just more meaningful on what you're playing.
Right.
Any kind of music, blues, death metal, jazz, whatever. It's just good to just put some thought into it and still make it heavy or whatever you're doing. Still make it somewhat someone's gonna want to jam to.
Totally.
There's so many good bands who do that, and that's what I'm trying to do too, man, for sure.
Oh shit yeah. So is the new stuff coming out on Comatose, or do we not know yet?
That's going to be the big news coming y'all's way. Yeah. We should be announcing that. Hopefully we're soon. Our singer Nick, he stopped by the house earlier, driving by doing some work, and we were just talking about what's coming up, and we're all very excited. And it's just it's going to be good for the band, and hopefully we'll get on the road here soon, and we can play some shows for people. And just get out there and play some death metal in the bars, for some fans that want to hear some good music, and I can't wait. So hopefully here soon, hopefully in the next few days, we'll be able to announce who we'll be working with, and we're all very excited, in the camp. It's definitely
sweet.
It's definitely good.
Right on. So how long have you been playing guitar for then?
I've been playing guitar since I have been the age of 3 years old. 3 years old, I picked up my first guitar, and I have never put it down ever since then. When I was about 8 years old, I took it seriously. I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. But at 3 years old, I have, just little pictures of still in my diaper sitting there, holding my dad's acoustic guitar and just knowing, this is it. And then I saw my first concert when I was 4 years old. My pops took me to see Stevie Wonder in Austin, Texas, and it just blew my mind. I was like this. I was 4 years old, and I was just like, this is it. And then the same year, my pops took me to see David Lee Roth on the Eat 'Em and Smile tour. I was 4 still, and Steve Vai was down there in the front, just shredding everyone's fucking face off. And I was just up in the stands, and I remember it, Paisley, I remember seeing Steve just shredding on this double harp guitar, and I was just like, this is it. I want to be down there and playing on that stage. And years later, I've been very fortunate to still, to rock and roll, man. And it's just, I've been, just want to do guitar. I love playing all sorts of music. Just jamming a guitar is pretty fucking happy for me, man.
So what got you into the metal scene? Have you lived there your whole life and you just kind of grew up there, I guess?
Okay, well, another good question. I grew up into Van Halen and Carlos Santana, and I was a gigantic. And Phil Anselmo will always laugh at me because I tell him I'm a gigantic Poison fan, and he says he says it's garbage. I'm like, dude, I love it. It's because like we were saying, the notes, the harmonies, the riffs. It's just good music to me, and I know I know what's going on, and so that was what I grew up to. Aerosmith was another big one too. Loved Aerosmith, and but then I got a little bit older, and my friend Jimmy turned me on to Cannibal Corpse, and I was a sophomore in high school, and it was 97, 98, and we went to go see the Gallery of Suicide tour.
Nice. And
it was Angel Corpse and Cannibal Corpse. And I was just a kid. I was a sophomore, and I'm telling you, it just changed my life forever. And I never looked back. Angel, when I was a kid, I just remember seeing Angel Corpse, and the guy had the big spikes on, and it was just unrelenting gutturals, and it was gross. It was a gross style of music, and I was just like, this is the best shit ever. I just delved right into it, and and never turned back. Picked up everything and just started getting into deicide, smoking weed, and just like picking up once upon the cross,
Yep.
and being like, "Fuck, where has this been all my life?" When it was 5, 6, 7 years old, and I'm just discovering it. I'm just like, "Wow, this is the greatest thing ever," and just never looked back. So big thanks to my friend Jimmy. He took me to see Cannibal Corpse. Gallery of Suicide. They opened with "I Will Kill You," and I'm just like, thank you. It was the best, man. It was a good time, and never turned back. And honestly, real quick, another thing with Cannibal Corpse and why they mean so much to me is I played with so many bands. We opened for Deicide, we opened for Morbid Angel, Immolation, but we never got to open for Cannibal Corpse in any of my bands. Well, finally, last year, the Illegals got to play with Cannibal Corpse, and of all places in the world, it was at Hellfest in France, and I was just a kid. It took me back to being that boy in the sophomore year in high school, and just like, finally, we're in France, and Cannibal Corpse is on stage. It was 10,000 people, and it was just the best moment, man, for sure.
My
Great
God.
time.
Honestly, man, like that's what it all boils down to. Like you said, man, when you went to go see Cannibal for the first time, and then all of a sudden, you're like kind of your side stage, hanging out with them, no big deal, and it's like, okay, like I have to stop myself from being a fanboy because I'm fucking losing it right now.
Dude, and I'm so glad we're talking, man, because we can talk metal. This is awesome. I'm having a great time, and I'll say that day at Hellfest, for anybody like us who love death metal, that was the best day to be anywhere, because that day on that lineup in France on a Sunday, it was Immolation was there. I got to see Immolation. I got to see Devourment. And I remember us parking at 2 in the afternoon, and I got my credentials, and I ran to the Devourment stage, and I remember just hearing this Texas chunk, and I was like, man, I ran, and I was, we were in France, and my homies were there, and it was the greatest. And then Deicide was there. Like I said, Cannibal Corpse was there. It was just the day was just stacked with so many good bands and so many good friends, and it was just, Testament was in the house, so you got some old school metal. It was just, it was just a good day of metal, man, and it was cool because Slayer played that night. I forgot Slayer was in the house too. So how can you got Devourment and Slayer on the same day? It was like, I'm telling you, just a dream come true for a dude, and it was awesome. And to be able to experience something like that on a rare occasion, especially with looking at the way things are today and how nobody can tour. You look at it now and you got to really appreciate, what we had, back then. It seems like now, it was just a year ago, but it seems like, back then before the world changed. It's so crazy.
Yeah, honestly, right? Like you said, 1 minute you're fucking touring, the next minute you're told to stay home and don't move and stop playing and jamming with your buddies. Like it's mind blowing.
It's insane, man. The weekend everything changed for the world was the weekend of March the 14th and the 15th. Because I believe it was the 13th when Friday the 13th of days when Trump was saying, "Hey, we're closing the borders to Europe. We're closing everything at midnight." It was that weekend, and the Illegals had a big festival down in Mexico City with Deep Purple and Static X and Soulfly, and it was just an array of bands, and we were so skeptical if we should go down there and do it, but we made it, and we went down there, and it was the last event. That was
Wow.
it. After that, that was it. There was no more. That was the last one, and it was pretty historic because we were there right when the things were just changing for everybody. It was like every day was a new rule, a new this, a new that. It was just like we went and played. It was an amazing moment. Dino from Fear Factory was there playing with Assassino, and I was so happy because Brujeria and me go way back, and he played 2 Brujeria songs in the middle of the Assassino set, and again, I was just tripping out, man, because I was like, fuck. I told him when he got off stage, I was like, Dino, I've seen you 1,000 times, but I never got to see you with Brujeria. I said, that was a fucking dream come true to be able to see you play 2 songs in the middle of y'all's set. You know, just to hear that was, you know, was awesome. It was just like, it was great because, you know, we got home from the weekend, the world was over, and, you know, I just was like, I couldn't believe I just did what we did, and I was just tripped. You know, you think about it, and you just, like I said, you really got to appreciate what we had, you know, when we had it, because now things are just going to be a little different now.
So
it's weird.
So tell me, did Dino end up playing Hey Chando Chingazos?
I wish he did that song. No, he did Brujerismo from the second album.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
And then he did Montanos Hueros.
Yeah.
I wanted to run on stage and like just scream, you know, into the mic, but I was just jamming hard and enjoying the moment. And then just a few hours later, you know, you had Max and Igor doing the root set, and it was just great to see the 2 brothers. They were right there next to me, and I'm just like tripping out. I'm just a kid, you know, grew up on Sepultura, and I grew up on these guys. So it was just a world-changing event. This was it. After this, it was over. So it was good to enjoy it while it lasted, I gotta say, man. It was great to see all the friends that were there, and we were all just together as one, just experiencing something that was new to all of us. You know, even the guys, the veterans, have been there forever. You could see it was new to everybody, and it was just something that, you know, was just changing all around us. So it was cool to be there and to do that.
Right on, man. Right on, man. That's and it's just fun to be at a show when you know, like, you know, a good group of people are going to be there. Everybody's enjoying it. Everybody's kind of eyeing each other because everybody knows the parts of the music that's coming up, and you're all of a sudden just like, yeah, you know, let's fucking do it.
Yeah, you get the horns and you're jamming and you're ready for the riffs, man. It was really crazy. I remember when the Illegals got done with our set. Our set was pretty rough. We were having a few technical difficulties and whatnot, but we got through it. But I remember as soon as we finished, the band on the stage over on the main stage next to us was Deep Purple, and as soon as we got done, I just remember hearing them break right into the song Highway Star,
right.
And it was just like dun 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 dun. Dun. I was just like
get goosebumps.
My gear down. Dude, for me, I was like breaking my gear down and like pushing our stuff off stage, and I'm trying to tell Steven, our other guitar player, I was like, dude, do you hear this? I was like, they're playing Highway Star. It was just a really cool moment. I was like, I just would have never imagined, you know, just sharing the stage with so many legendary bands. And Man of War was in the house, and they closed out the night. And just to see, you know, Man of War and their production from the behind the stage setup was just an eye-opener to see such a gigantic setup and fire for such a legendary metal band. It was pretty awesome to see it from that point of view.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
And I mean, I'm a stagehand myself, so I like watching when bands roll in. We bring in their gear, we set up their gear, and see how it runs and everything like that. So, I mean, as much as I want to watch the bands live, which, I mean, obviously you do. You want to catch a couple songs at least. But I like watching behind the scenes because, I mean, I'm in there too. It's like, you know, you get the flashlight. Okay, are you ready over there? Okay, well, I guess I got to do the smoke here and make sure over there, make sure to pull the curtain and, you know, during the show and everything. Like, it's fun. It's exhilarating. So to watch Manowar and like to watch Manowar, even like Iron Maiden or something like that, right? Behind the scenes, I would just like, I wouldn't even care about the show. I'd be like, holy fuck, like, they got this, they got the riser, they got Eddie coming out over here, they got this over here. It's like, oh, that's unbelievable.
It's really, really cool to see it, you know, to see these guys put together such a show for the fans. It's just there's props, there's video screens, and they're all coming together to bring you the best show they can. So it's really cool to see it from that perspective. And I gotta say, being on the recent final leg of the Slayer tour was definitely an eye opener, because we did a month long inside arenas with fucking Slayer. I can't say that enough. Slayer, man. And this is it. That was it. They are done. And to be there for a month alongside such a fucking legendary band, and to see it every day, day in, day out, for 1 month, how they put together that show was such an amazing experience. To see the gear every day loaded in at 10 a.m., waking up, getting off the bus, and walking into the venue. And these guys are already been there since 7 a.m., eating their donuts, drinking their coffee, moving gear here, moving gear there, just getting everything ready. And then you come in and you got to do your thing. But everybody works together to put on this, amazing show the best we can. And for a band like the Illegals, Philip likes to keep it straight up raw, and I love it. We don't have no fireworks. We don't have no fire. We just got amplifiers and guitars and drums and the vocals, and it's just, we come out and we try to lay waste in the illegal camp the best we can, and just keep it more straightforward and in your face, the old school way, and that's what we like to do. It's great because it's just the music. Let the music talk, he says.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we do. As opposed to, like, say, a band like Kiss. You know what I mean? Who put this, it's great. I love Kiss. I'll go see Kiss every time. But, as opposed to, like, a production size like that, we just love to come out and just fucking let the riff talk and let the music do its thing, man. It's more stripped down and in your face in that way. It's fucking awesome.
Fucking right, fucking right. So, how is the scene in Texas? What are some of your fave? You got some fave bands around there right now?
Yes, man. I've been playing here in the Texas scene for a really long time. Fuck, I'm not the longest. There's guys. I'll send all the props out to the OGs who've been doing it since the beginning of the days. But I came in at a really good time when the scene here in Texas was definitely thriving, and people were going to shows, and people wanted to hear some good old school Texas death metal. It was right at 99, 2000 when I kind of started coming into the scene, and there was guys before me like Sean Whitaker and fucking Insidious Discrepancy, bands like Images of Violence with John Zig and my boy Steven, who were doing music with Sect of Execration, and just old school Texas death metal bands, Cinerary and Devourment, kind of started that fucking slam that so many bands have ripped off to this day. Some bands do it good, some bands are straight up ripping off Devourment. But even in my band, my homie Angel, definitely, he doesn't like Devourment. It's too much. But you honestly, in my eyes, you kind of got to give credit where credit is due.
Oh, of course.
And those guys were fucking doing it like in 94, 93, before anybody else was really bringing that slam. They were already trying things. I know Suffocation was doing some slam too out of New York, so it was good to hear, those guys bringing that element. And then you had like bands like Disgorge out of like California bringing fucking that slam. But here in Texas, there's definitely, a lot of good bands fucking bringing it. A little bit later, my band Disfigured started doing some shows. We did our thing for a long time, played with all the bands, and then you got bands from like San Antonio, like Eviscerated, bands out of Austin, bands like out of the Valley, like Severance, who were putting out demos back like way in the day, in the 90s. So, you got to give props to all the old school bands. I'm sure I'm forgetting, Infernal Dominion and, so many bands, but it's fucking awesome to be able to talk about that part of history. I talked to Steven from Images of Violence the other day in Selective Execration, and we were just saying how we grew up together and how we're getting old together, and it's great that, to be there and to know these dudes that have been doing death metal here in the Texas area for, such a long time, and just trying to keep it alive and trying to still keep it alive and do our thing, man. It's good. It's good.
It's fun, man. And like Texas has been a brutal imprecation. There's another one, imprecation, right?
Yeah.
Thurgia Goetia, whatever that album is, out on Repulse Records, man. That set a weird standard also. Like, it was brutal, but the riffs, there was something about those riffs, and you knew that was like, that's not from around here. There's something going on down south there.
There's a couple of other bands I forgot to mention. Bands like Gourd, out of like Seguin, Texas. Another band called Putrilage, out of like the early San Antonio days. These guys were putting out album covers even that were just like disgusting, and you're just like, fuck, you just leave that imprint. Like the more mainstream bands.
Can't hear you. No. 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 Here, let me call you back. Let me call you back. Hold on. Yeah, let me call you back. I'm going to hang up and then call you again. Yeah. There we are.
How about now?
I can hear you.
Damn it, let's get it going. There we are.
There we are. There we are.
Sorry everybody for that interruption. My bad, everyone.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
We're getting excited, though.
Love it. Yeah. Keep going, man.
Yeah. So you guys, obviously, I've noticed that, like you said, you're kind of starting to jam a little bit to start getting shit together for, like, but you've already recorded the whole album?
Well, we recorded most of the album, but we listened, I guess the guys listened back, a couple of the other guys, and they thought we could do better than this. So just recently, our drummer went in, and he just like last week or so, and he retracked the drums in a day or two, wow. And they're way better than the first go around. So at least we know we're trying to push ourselves to the best we can. In the next day or the next couple of weeks or so, I should say, we're going to get in there and retrack all the guitars. The bass is done. Most of the vocals are done. It's just got to be a couple of more steps, and it'll be finished. It'll definitely be finished within a month or so. The album will be done, and then we'll send it off to mixing and mastering, and then go from there. We're still working on some artwork. We're still working on an album title, but we want it to be something brutal and something disgusting and something just in your face, and just got that old school Texas death metal vibe to it for sure.
So the scene is still going pretty good down there.
Yeah, there's definitely some bands still jamming. You don't see as many people as you used to anymore. The scene is still there. It's not as strong, I should say, as it once was, but there's still bands still releasing music. There's still people still going to shows. Hopefully after all this COVID shit's over, everybody will start to want to get out and support, shows a lot more, and we'll see, we'll see some bigger turnouts for more of the underground shows. Right. But hopefully there'll be a good little resurgence here for music, for underground music, especially here soon. But there's definitely still a scene, but it seems to be a little bit more thinned out, I guess. There's not as many bands, doing this as much as there used to be and whatnot. But the bands that are around are still putting out quality music. You got bands like ID from Ogden. You got bands like Infuriate. You got Serpentine. You got Flesh Hoarder, and there's bands from down in the valley fucking putting out quality death metal. So it's real. I know I'm forgetting Defiled Crypt, and I'm fucking forgetting Putrid Womb out of Houston. So many good bands, still putting out music, man. So it's definitely still going. Actually, I gotta say, if anything, Houston, Texas has a sick scene. If I'm gonna represent anybody, Houston, you guys know what's up. You guys still come out and support. The shows are sick. The mosh pits are sick, and it's always a good time every time we come out to Houston, man. It's awesome.
Right on. But I mean, it's almost the same in a lot of places. The scene picks up, and then everybody kind of gets a little older, and then they drop out. And then a couple people still hang out to keep shit going, and then there's a new generation, right? So it's almost like what you're saying is there's a little bit of a lull with that middle generation kind of getting older. They're starting to have kids and blah, blah, blah. But there's still a couple of you guys keeping shit going to get a new generation of people out.
That's probably the best way to put it, man. That's right. Even as a band like Flesh Hoarder, we're not a big band like Deicide or big bands. We're just an underground band trying to do our thing, but it's good because we're trying to play the more old school style, but to these newer fans that have never really got a chance to see that old school style or those old school bands. So it's good to try to get these newer kids or even the second generation still, try to get them back back into it with what we got going on, our bands in general got going on. It's good to see them still pushing it for newer fans, because those newer fans are definitely there. Those 15-year-old kids like us, when we were 15, they want some sort of brutality. It might be deathcore, it might be whatever it is, but they're still there and they want the music. So if we're still happen to be on the bill or so-and-so is on the bill, it's always good for anybody to open up some eyes for the younger generation to hear, some more of the heavier stuff, because they might say, hey, you know what? I don't want to hear this deathcore. I want to hear some death metal, and this wasn't heavy enough, you know what I mean, and whatnot. But it's just it's good to keep it going, for us, dudes have been doing it forever. We're still trying, and we still want to play music, and even for a person like me who was able to go play some big arenas and some big festivals and some big crowds, I love getting back into the right in your face bar and going and hanging at the bar and having a fucking Coke or a Sprite and mingling with everybody and going to the bathroom and taking a little toke just like the old days, you know what I mean, hanging out by the dumpster or whatever, and then getting on stage and then fucking ripping it to whoever is in the room. It's just that's death metal, and that's what keeps us grounded. No egos, and we're all the same. We just want to play music and do our own thing instead of fighting or not getting along. We need to be supporting and saying, even if you don't like the band, support the guys and pass the word along. Maybe someone else might like them. You know what I mean? I would much rather do that than talk. Say, hey, those guys suck, and never go see them. It might not be your thing, but hey, they're trying to do their thing, and just acknowledge that. Hey, that's good.
Just be a supporter of the scene, right? That's the whole thing, man. Like you said, whether you like the music or not, the fact that there's live music happening and somebody's putting in effort to do something, then that's at least commendable to be like, hey man, I'm not into this, but there's some deathcore band playing down the street or some metalcore or whatever, but at least there's something going on.
Even if you don't like it, get out to the show, go have a drink and enjoy some music in general. There might be another band on the bill you never heard of, and then you might catch your attention, and next thing you know, you're a fan of the second band on the bill, because they had a cool song. You know what I'm saying? Just something out of the norm. But you know, it's just good to support live music in general. But fans, friends, you know, not everybody's doing everything that pleases everybody. But it's just good to, you know, that people, you know, are just people are just jamming and making music is always a good thing in general.
Hey, we all got to start somewhere.
I've been doing a lot of music in my off time, making a lot of just like blues, depression music. It's been great. It's like rock and roll with like a real sad twist. It's really good, man. And right now I've been calling the project Cornbread Head, and that's only because that's Philip's nickname to me. He's always called me Cornbread Head, and I kind of just went with it and made my own project, and now it's Cornbread Head. All my friends who know me know what's up. It's cool, man.
So you're sending him music as you're writing it too, right?
Yeah, totally. And I've been sending some of my friends the music I've been working on, but it's just really, it's not metal. It's not, it's just real sad, depressing, like rock. It's really, really cool, man. It's really cool. It's something different for you. It's cool.
Hey, man, you have to break out of the shell, man. Like, I mean, as much as we love metal, I love everything else. There's a certain music for every mood. It doesn't matter what's going on, man. Like, one day I'm going to want to listen to just fucking brutal death metal. One day I'm going to want to listen to old school hip hop. And then the other day I'm going to listen to freaking some 80s new wave. Like, I'm all over the board, man, because there's those days. It's like, I can't listen to distortion right now. I need something different.
One of my go-to bands that a lot of people ask me or they're surprised, I mean, whatever, but one of my go-to bands like I really, really like is an old 70s like jazz rock band called Steely Dan.
Oh, I love Steely.
I listen to so much Steely Dan, like it's not even crazy. It's just like, you know, them and then like a band like Depeche Mode, you know, more of like an 80s goth, you know, dance band. I'll just throw some on and it's just like it'll clear my mind of whatever I've had, you know, is going on, and I'm just jamming out and enjoying some good music. It's good music, you know what I mean? And then the next day it's back to like severe torture or some some just brutal shit, you know, just whatever. I'm always jamming all sorts of death metal too, man. I love it.
I'm a big Steely Dan fan myself. So what's your favorite album?
Oh man.
Or is it album or songs?
Song. It's just.
Love Steely Dan.
I'm gonna say their greatest hits. It's just because I can listen to each album and they all have a bad song. Asia, that album Asia is probably my favorite just because it's a classic. But you know, each album is great, man. You know, and then you'll throw on some like, you know, right behind you like some Mortician. And I can listen to fucking Mortician all day long and fucking some vinyl and just blast it and do some dishes at the house, you know, and pushing my little kids around in the living room like we're in a mosh pit. It's good for me. You know, trying to bring them up the right way, you know.
You gotta try at least. My boys never took to metal at all, man. I'm so disappointed. They end up just laughing at me more than anything. I mean, most of the brutal stuff. But yeah, like I've tried, and they just like, I don't understand, Dad. I don't get this. I don't know what you're doing here.
Last year, my little boy, when he was 5 years old, his favorite band last year was Slipknot, and it's still metal. It's not, you know, it's cool because he got really, really into it, and it was something for me and him to connect to. I started listening to it with him all the time, and next thing you know, we're in the car jamming Slipknot together, and it's just a cool little bonding thing. And then I was able to hook up and arrange for him to meet Corey, the singer, last year at a show in Austin. And he was 5 years old, and he got to meet like 3 or 4 of the guys in the band. And it just was the best thing in his whole life because it was his favorite band at the time. He still loves them, but it was at the time, I mean, he was so into them. And for him to be able to, to meet the guys, and especially the singer, for Corey to come out and take a few minutes and just talk to him was just the greatest thing in the world to him. So it's just really cool to bring them up. And then even the death metal stuff, I try to play some for them, and they're they're jamming around. So it's definitely cool. And we will go to all sorts of tunes, and just try to bring them up around good music, man, and
just
music.
Try to
bring some good.
Exactly. Just music, man. Like, I want my kids to love music. I don't care what genre they want to listen to. Just listen to music, because it's going to give you those vibes and those feelings and bring you back to those times when you heard this music when you were a young kid, man. Like you said, Steely Dan. That was one of those bands back in the day I remember listening to on the radio in the late 70s, early 80s. And it was just a few of those songs, like Peg and just those tunes, man. Every time I hear that shit, I'm just like, oh my God. I remember being like 6 years old, listening to headphones on the radio, and just like, oh man, there's that song. Oh, this is great. Like, and I love those feelings. So I want my kids to do the same. But, obviously they're liking some of the newer stuff, like some of that trap and, some of the, that new hip hop or whatever like that, which, I mean, if that's what you like, then cool. But whatever, 30 years down the road, I know you're going to listen to that song again and be like, Dad, do you remember that time when we used to play that music for you and, you weren't really into it, but, we were laughing at you because you didn't understand it and stuff. And I'm like, I totally do, man.
And it'll be cool when that happens. They'll remember those cool moments, and it'll be good for them and for everybody. So that's good, man. That's good stuff.
Totally. And and what was cool too is my oldest son, he's a skateboarder, and I love yacht rock. I love Toto and Little River Band and Ambrosia and all. Like, I love that shit. So I'm a big Little River Band. I'm a big Little River Band fan. So the song "Reminiscing," I absolutely love that. So that's one of my favorite songs probably ever. And my son ended up doing a skateboard video probably about 4 years ago. Him and his buddies, they shoot their, skate tricks and whatever, and then edit and you put some music in. And he actually put Little River Band in the video, and that pulled my heartstrings, and I was like, oh, you're listening to the music. I love it.
That's awesome. I'm sure you were surprised and just, overwhelmed with it, man. That's cool, dude.
Exactly. I was so surprised. I was like, wow, you actually like this song? He's like, yeah, it's catchy. I'm like, yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then, like for us, like for me personally, when we like just being on the road, you play festivals and you come across all these bands that you grew up listening to, and next thing you know, you're there watching. Last year we were in, I think, Serbia of all places, and we were there July the 4th, and we played the 5th. We were there a day early, and we got to watch The Cure, and we were just like blown away that we were in Serbia of all places. And we were watching The Cure. The B-52s were in the house. And we were just like, what? It was wicked. It was so cool. And what's his name was there? Brian Setzer. So it's just three just different ranges of music. And, it's just cool to, just like you said, just to grow up on these tunes, and then to be there, or to be anywhere and to be able to experience any of the stuff you grew up on. Seeing it is just fucking insane, man.
Honestly, it is. I feel that way. Like I said, I work at one of the local venues around here, and we get a lot of the like the casino run acts, but they're still the big acts to me, like the Commodores and like all that kind of stuff. And it blows my mind because I can't believe I'm hanging out with these legends. And like, it's just what I grew up with. So it like you said, man, it just, you sit back and you're like, holy fuck, man, this is the shit my dad, the records that he had when I remember being a kid and looking through his records and everything. And I'm like, wow, this is like Wild Cherry, and this is Ambrosia, and this is Like, you know, this blows my mind, man. It's music. You just gotta love music.
Little river bands in the house.
Yes, all day, every day. I will bring that band up all the time.
I remember watching that movie, The Other Guys, and Will Ferrell was a big fan of that. The band in that movie, he kept calling them LRB.
LRB.
Pretty funny.
Hell yeah. So,
What about,
go on.
I'm gonna say, what was your first death metal show you went to?
What was my first death metal show? It was, actually, I think I have the flyer right here. Hold on a sec. Oh, yeah, I do.
Awesome.
Grotesque Infection and Infestation.
That's sick.
So, I remember, here we go, right here, everybody. This was the first death metal show. Like, I just started finding out about Cannibal Corpse and everything. And there was a local record shop over in Niagara Falls, New York called Cavages. And that's where we started to go to get our music, because we heard in Buffalo or Niagara Falls that a couple of these cool places had the cool shit. So we started buying some stuff. I remember the first stuff we bought was Agnostic Front live at CBGB's, Carcass, Symphonies of Sickness, and Morbid Angel, Altars of Madness. So this guy, he had this flyer sitting on the front desk when you bought your albums. So we come up, we put our CDs down. He's like, "Oh, good choices, guys. Do you guys know that there's a couple shows happening around here?" We're like, "Absolutely not. What's going on?" Because we're like 16, 17. And he's like, "Actually, these guys, Grotesque Infection and Infestation, are playing a little show right over the border from where," because I was originally from like Niagara Falls, Canada, so I'm right on the border. We hopped, skipped, and jumped right over the border, literally a 5-minute walk up. And these two bands were fucking playing, and literally after that, I was like, okay, I've never seen music do this ever in my life. And that was it. Bam. And then the next show was, I believe, The Bleeding, and it was the Bleeding tour, and who the fuck was it? Sinister and Cynic.
Such a big package.
Oh man, and that was my first. Yeah, exactly, man.
They're from like a Dutch death metal band, man.
Yep.
Yes, super sick, man.
So
I like some Sinister.
So that was this is literally the first show, and it was like a crazy underground show, which I mean that's what bit me into getting into like whatever scene there was at that time. And just because I liked how small it was, I liked how, just a select few of people that were in that room were into such crazy music. And you everybody there, like we talked before, you just looked at each other and you were like, "Oh fuck yeah, holy shit," right? And then I got
on the same page. Yes, everybody's just grooving and just into the tunes, into what was going on.
Yeah, man.
And that's how it was for seeing Cannibal Corpse and Angel Corpse. After that, it was just like sneaking out of the house to go see Deicide. Sneaking out of the house to go see Incantation, and fucking Nile and Goat Whore, in the early days.
Yeah.
And so many good bands, Carcass, and just, Death. I don't think I ever got to see Death, but
nope.
I remember them coming around. I remember them playing. I don't think I ever... So I never got to see them, but I
personally wasn't a gigantic Death fan. I'm gonna admit that. I appreciate them,
say that,
but I'm not the biggest fan. I like Leprosy. Maybe that's my favorite album.
I'll go on air, and I will say that I am also not the biggest Death fan as well. And I know there's so many people that love death.
Yep.
I like the album Human. The album Human was cool. It was like more along the lines of what I'll get into that. But I just wasn't ever too big of a fan. I was always into Obituary. I was like, yes, this is what I'm needing right here. That slow, sludgy Alan West guitar riffs, and the Tardy brothers on doing their thing. It was just, that's what I was into and whatnot. And, just, there were so many bands, like Cephalic Carnage had their own take on death metal with the grind that they were doing, and then even bands like Anal Cunt and Anal Blast, doing what they were doing. It was just like, I was into all this shit. It was just like, just off the wall. And I remember being like, living at my mom and my dad's house, and I had this Anal Cunt shirt, and at the back of it was this girl, like, shooting shit out of her ass, like, in her face and mouth. And I remember my mom found it, and she totally got rid of it. She was like, you ain't wearing this shit, and I was just like, Mom, that's my shirt, and it just being into so much wickedness, and Exhumed, Deeds of Flesh,
Yes.
There's so many bands, Severe Torture, all the bands I grew up listening to, man. Just loving it all, man. Just wanting to go see every band. Cannibal Corpse came every time, man. You would go see them on every tour because it was just, they were in town and they were bringing the sickest packages like Napalm Death, and just all the good bands, man. I remember seeing Cannibal Corpse tour with Lamb of God years ago, before Lamb of God was even anybody. They were just a no-name band.
Right.
And they were, they were, just a no-name band, and they were just doing their thing, and then, like, Dimmy Borgir playing, and then Incantation, and then just, like, these crazy lineups back in the day, Dying Fetus, and it was just good times and good death metal. It's still good to see, the bands who are still out there trying to keep it alive. Napalm Death is still touring after 30, 40 years. They're still going, and it's good to see. It's good to see that, man. I fucking love that band, and I love the intensity, and I can't get enough of it, man.
Man.
All that shit.
Going back to the T-shirt with your mom. My mom, I ended up. I remember when Baphomet turned to Banished. And then that album came out, and that cover was it was like the female with the horned dildo, and then all the other girls were hanging up, and their butts were all bloody or whatever. So I had that shirt. I ended up buying it in Buffalo because I was a huge Baphomet guy, and I was trying to keep it away from my mom, and she ended up finding it in one of the laundry bins, and I never seen it after that. I was like, you bitch. You bitch, that was my shirt. Ah!
I totally know what you mean. Just even I mean, when you look at it now, and it's not as, I mean, then when like an album cover, like say Tomb of the Mutilated, with the spread open, the girl eating now and all that, back in 1990, 91, when that was coming out. It was brand new to everybody, we're just like, what is this?
Yep.
And if you didn't, if you weren't really into the music, you would just look right past it in the CD bin.
Yeah.
But if you were like a metalhead, you would pick that up and you would take it home just because of the album cover being as sadistic as it was. And, it was just, they put it on a T-shirt, and then next thing you know, moms and dads across America are throwing out vintage Cannibal Corpse shirts because of just very, fucked up stuff going on.
Yeah.
But, to us, it was something that will just be burned in our brains forever,
Yeah.
It's just something that we can go right to, and we know exactly what is going on and what it is, where it came from. So that's awesome. And even with the new Flesh Hoarder album, with the first album cover, the next album cover, that's stuff that is important. It should be important. in death metal, you know, because it's the first thing people will look at when they
Yep.
look at your album, you know. So it's good to, you know, in the death metal world, to focus on something sick and, you know, perverted or twisted, because it'll go a long way in the long
Of course.
run, and if the music can back it up, well, then it's 100 times better, you know, and it just makes it all worthwhile. So it's definitely.
Do you find a lot of like brutal death metal albums almost seem to look alike to a degree? I mean, I love the artwork that a lot of these artists are pulling out. Like it's like Dan Seagrave plus 100, right? Which it all looks fucking unbelievable. But a lot of it just almost looks the same to a degree. What is your take on that?
I can totally agree. You can look at an album cover and you can think to yourself, I've seen 100 album covers just like this. You know, I've seen bands doing this already, you know, almost identical to what you're looking at on paper. You're like, man, this has already been done already. So I can definitely see bands. I mean, I'm not saying not ripping off, but bands maybe like nodding towards bands, saying,
Sure.
hey, I want to do something like that, you know. But it's always good to have, you know, if you have 100 album covers look the same, it's always good to have the 2 or 3 amongst that 100 that will stick out and be like, man, this is what I'm talking about. This doesn't look like anything I've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, you will get that, you know, you'll pick up an album cover and you're like, man, this has been done before, you know, I've already seen this already. And the music can still be good,
Of course.
but it's always good to have, you know, it's always good to have something more original and more thought out on your own, you know, backing up the tunes as well.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what we're trying to do in the Flesh Holder camp for sure, is coming out with something sick and perverted and twisted, but something that's, you know, not going to be lumped in. It'll be more, you know, just trying to do our own thing, you know.
Yeah.
Try to do our own
Totally.
thing.
Yeah,
Us
because
Mexicans.
Because, I mean, like, yeah, like you mentioned too, as much as we love, you know, this artwork, because, I mean, all of it it's talent. Like, regardless what you say about these album covers, like, good luck trying to draw this shit. But, unfortunately, a lot of that, like, super brutal, even the techie stuff or whatever that some of these labels are putting out, a lot of the album covers, they look the same. It's a monstrous, mutant, fucking weird thing, and it's blowing up, and, like, there's something, but it all looks the same. Like, the color scheme's a lot of the same, or everything. Like, I love the shit, but you can't differentiate each band.
Totally. You know, and since we're talking album covers, I'll talk up an underground, one of my favorite underground album covers, and that's going to be from this band overseas called Inveracity. Super sick death metal, and they got this album cover, and the album's called Circle of Perversion, and it's like, yeah, that's it, that one right there. I mean, that one doesn't look like anything else. It looks real. It looks like a chick's getting her fucking head cut right off. And that will stick out to you rather than 30 monsters on an album cover. You know, I want to see that fucking chick get her head cut off on that album cover. That's I'm not going to say that's cool, but that's killer from a death metal album cover, you know, for death metal. You know, that's fucking awesome. Or the first Disavowed album cover where the face is like getting pulled and it's like a barbed wire on the face and it's like purple and whatnot. It's a sick fucking album cover, and it sticks with you, you know, and it's good to see that. And one more thing is, I don't know if you personally have seen the album cover to the last Illegals album, but the cover on that album is awesome. It's I want to say it's fucked up because it's fucked up in a crazy way, and it's just it's real photos of real people from you know, from mental homes, and it's like being under sedation, getting lobotomies. It's like it's a bunch of it's a collage of pictures, and you look at it and you're like, that's gonna stick with you forever. You see it and you're like, man, this is not like anything I've ever seen. And you know, props to Philip's wife, Kate, who put that album cover together, because it's definitely just something it's just different from everything else. And then you listen to the album on that disc, and it's just maniac music. Definitely gonna push the limits of extremities on that second Illegals album. So the music and the cover definitely go together hand in hand when it comes to that, and it's always good to see that in any kind of tunes. Again, it's just good to see something stick out, original, and fucking. It could be Fleetwood Mac and the Rumors album cover, them just standing there on the Rumors album cover. It's so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then you put the music on, it's timeless.
Yeah.
It's good to see a solid album cover, death metal music, ripping tunes, man.
So on that second Illegals album, you guys put together a cool music video for that too.
Yes, that's cool. We're talking about that. We did a music video we did a couple of music videos, but the one you're talking about is the one for the song Choosing Mental Illness.
Yes.
And that was an experience all on its own. Being able to be in a music video with Phil was just, it was like, whoa, this is awesome. But then it came out like a short film, and it came together really well. We did a nod or a little parody, I guess, of the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson.
Yep.
And we did our own version. We did our own version of it, and it came out pretty dang awesome. And our singer Nick from Flesh Hoarder rode out there with me to the filming of that. We went out there that weekend, and he was able to be in the video too. So it's really cool to see our singer Nick from Flesh Hoarder in the video with all the Illegals and doing our thing. So it came out really good, and it was cool to have a couple of stars, a little couple of folks in the movie, in the film, in the little mini film. But it came out really good, man.
Right on, right.
Time. Long day of work.
Oh yeah.
It came out really, really good.
Yeah, people get surprised at how long it takes to get at least one take of a scene, right? I mean, for one, there's the setup, there's, trying to get the lighting, and then there's the camera guy, and then there's the actors, and then there's everything. So everything, and especially in a music video or a movie or whatever, it's the choreograph of it all, which sometimes it takes a take after take after take, and you could be there for already 3 or 4 hours and only get 20 seconds of whatever you're getting shot.
That's exactly right, and that's exactly how it was. I had never been in a production movie or film or video, I should say, or anything like I had that day, and to have to put on an actual costume or outfit and hit play or what do they say? Well, cut or all that
action.
Stuff. It was just like it was just like that, and it must have been a 12 to 14 hour day for like a 6-minute video. It was just like a long day of work, but it was so much fun and worth it in the long run. And I want to say that people ask me all the time, how is it jamming with Philip? And, how is it being in a band with Phil? People ask me. So I want to say, when people ask that, I always like to give them the answer of, it's fucking awesome because the guy, himself just wants to write fucking good music, and having the freedom to be in a band like the Illegals and to be able to touch all sorts of genres of music is awesome. It's been a blast, man. It's been a dream come true, man. It's been a fucking awesome ride.
Oh, I bet, man. And that keeps your inner kid and your passion going even stronger, because now you have this you're working with this legend, but this legend is on a humble level to where you're going to want to talk about necrophagia and black metal and all this other shit.
Yeah, like even with Philip, I play him Defeated Sanity. I'll play him some Immolation. I'll play him some Deicide, some Morbid Angel. We're there, jamming all the stuff, and then he's turning me on to bands like I never really listened to Satyricon or like some of the Dark Throne.
Portal.
He loves all that old black metal stuff, and it's cool to be able to share music, even if it's like Steely Dan. We'll fucking listen to everything, and it's just it's just, if it's good music, it's good music. And to do it with such a legend like Philip is fucking amazing. Because I remember being a kid going to see Pantera and being up in the freaking rafters, you know, looking down and being, you know, fuck, I want to be down there jamming these Pantera tunes. So to be able to be up there doing it with him is fucking mind blowing. And as humble as all of us are, we're just dudes trying to make some noise, man. And it's you know, it's just a good time, and we'll smoke weed and jam tunes. It's exactly what
So it always goes back to smoking weed, man. I love it. It always goes back to smoking weed, because I'm the same way too, man. As soon as you smoke a joint with your buds and you start putting on killer music, it's a totally different level you're on now.
Totally. Everybody's connecting with whatever's jamming, and you know, and just vibing, man. You know, have a drink, smoke a little weed, and relax. Take it easy. You know, everything is gonna be all right. Throw on some tunes, watch a movie, get your mind off, you know, the negative things. Put your mind into some blues, some fucking country, some reggae, whatever you want to throw on. Just you know, chill out. Everything's gonna be all right. I always say, you just gotta get through it, and just look. You know, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep getting through it, and you'll be all right, man. Smoke a joint and eat some tacos and black and fucking death moon. You know.
Oh man, you can't go wrong with a good fucking taco, eh?
I'm about to get some tacos here in a little bit for sure.
I made some pierogies and chicken breast tonight.
That's good, man. I was feeding my kids a little earlier before this, and I told the lady, you know, once we get done, it's taco time, so we're gonna munch here in a little bit, watch some Netflix, and just take it easy, you know. Just
man.
Enjoy it, and just try to keep going. Hopefully, all this shit with the COVID and all the riots and protesting, you know, will die down soon, and people can get back to jamming again, and bands can get back to getting out there and doing what we do best. And I always say that's fucking rocking out for all the people who want to come out and support the music, you know. I had tickets just like everyone else for concerts lined up the rest of the year, you know, so they're postponing everything the next year. So hopefully everything next year gets back to the way it was. You know, it might be a little bit different, but hey, you know, Motley Crue is going to be on tour next year. I'll be there, you know what I mean? I can't wait, you know, and fucking, you know, just the Illegals will be out touring. Flesh HOARDER is going to be out touring. It's just going to be good to get back to what I know and what I like to do, and that's rock and fucking play metal, man. And I'm sure many thousand people out there like me are ready to do the same thing.
Oh, totally, man. And I just hope that everybody isn't scared to get back into the groove again. I understand, you know, everybody's kind of, you know, going through their shit and figuring this out, if it's, you know, if it's as severe as it is and whatever like that. But I hope when they actually do start opening shit up that people aren't going to be like, I don't know if I should go, and it's, oh, shit, right? I mean, we have to fucking just, yeah, I don't know.
You just gotta get back out there and try to put some normalcy back in your life, and you know, it might be different, it might be a new way, and I'm sure it's gonna be a learning experience for each and every, from our end as musicians to people setting up to the fans coming to the shows. It's gonna be different, but we gotta get back out there. We gotta support the fucking music. I need some death metal. I need that. I need the blast beats. I need some gutturals in my face. I need that. You know, we need some thud. You know, and I'm ready to get back out there. I'm ready to play my own self, and I'm definitely ready to get back in that pit and fucking have some fun with all my friends. You know, and do my thing, man, just like everyone else.
So you plan on bringing Flesh HOARDER out, like from south? Or you want to travel?
Yes, we are already talking about with this new album. We want to get out of the country and go to Europe. We want to go and play as far as we can, and you know, to get up to Canada would be great. New York, the West Coast, California, you know, we definitely are looking forward to doing some touring. We've done a little bit. We played some festivals around the country, but with this new one, you know, it's time for us to buckle in, get in a van like the old days, throw on some tunes, stop, get Taco Bell, and fucking get hit city to city. You know, that's what death metal is, man. You get in your van, you unload your gear, you go play your music, you load up, off to the next show, and that's what Flesh Hoarder is definitely going to be doing, and you know, the Illegals will definitely be doing. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting back out there and getting both bands and getting back to jamming, man, and fucking smoking weed and playing metal.
And eating tacos.
Jack in the Box tacos. Yeah.
So you guys ended up playing Chicago Domination Fest too. How was that?
Amazing. Good times. The best thing about playing the festivals, especially the death metal festivals, is that we're all friends. It's just a big friend fest. You get to see friends that you don't get to see all the time. You get to see them in one place, and you make the best of that time, seeing, you know, all the homies from all the bands, you know, and then you get to get up on stage and everybody gets to do their thing. You get to see your friend's band that you hadn't seen in a couple of years. You get to catch up, and it's just a good time. Playing Chicago Domination Fest was a blast because there were so many homies, and then, you know, we got to go up and just crush it, Texas style, alongside all the good bands. So it was a good time. Same thing with Las Vegas Death Fest, and I want to send a shout out to Big Mike in Las Vegas Death Fest. Big Mikey, I love you, bro. Got to see him in Vegas when Slayer was in town, and he always brings all the big bands, and you know, it's good to see. It's good to see at all the festivals, MDF or whatever. It's just the underground is where it's at, because that's where we all started, and no matter what, that's where we're all going to end right back. You know, it's what we do and whatnot. You know, it's what I like to do, and you know, it's fun. I want to take Flesh Hoarder and definitely get out and jam, man, for sure.
Yeah, well, because I mean, we're listening and playing to brutal death metal. It's not a widely popular genre. You're not going to get a million people loving you, but we're going to continue to go out and play and go to these weird shows just because we need that fucking brutal.
That's exactly right. And I can't wait till all my friends get the tour again. Malignancy, go tour, Mortician, tour, Internal Bleeding, my homies, get back on the road. You know, everybody wants to. Suffocation, my homie Terrence. You know, I can't wait till everybody can get back out and get back and jamming, man, because us fans down here in Texas are hungry for it. We're ready for the bands to come through, you know, as we're everywhere else, and ready just to fucking hear that death metal crunch and blast beats, man. It's the best.
Fucking A. You got any, don't want to keep you too long. We've already been a little longer than we expected too. So got any last words you want to tell everybody out here?
Let's see, some last words. First off, I want to thank you, Cam, for giving me the time to come out here and talk to you, man. I really appreciate it. Horns up to that. I love talking death metal. I want to say fucking Slayer, just because it's, you know, things went wrong after they ended it. Look at 2020 because Slayer ended it, man. I just want to say hi to all my fucking buddies out there, whoever's watching. Thanks for supporting everything I've done the last 20 years. Thanks for supporting death metal, Texas death metal. Flesh Hoarder has a new album coming out. It's going to be brutal. We got some big news coming your way. As for the Illegals, we've all been demoing and putting new music, and it's going to be coming real soon. Once this passes and us guys can get some illegal activities going, we're going to have a new album out as well, and it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be pissed off. I already know it. And that's good. That's a good thing, man. And hopefully down the road, maybe I'll be able to release some of my own personal music. It ain't nothing that I'm focusing on. I want to focus on my bands, getting the band's music out. But maybe down the road, I'll put out some of the music I've been working on. Again, it's real sad and depressing, so you might want to hear it. It's good shit, man. And it has a little bit of Pink Floyd and a little bit of Santana people tell me. So it's just a little bit of like throwback to the old days, and it's really lovely music. And besides that, just keep supporting death metal, eat tacos, smoke weed, and raise the horns up high, man, because everybody needs that. Put the horns up as high as you can, and cheers to everybody. Support death metal, and we'll see you guys next time, man. Thanks again, Cam. You rule, bro.
Fucking A, man. All right, let's stay in contact, because like you said, as soon as that news comes out, we're going to make sure to fucking let everybody out here know what's going on, because you guys need to know about Flesh Hoarder.
Yes.
Killer, dude. All right, well, enjoy your tacos and Netflix.
I'm about to hit it up right now, man. Get a bowl going, bro. I'll see you soon, brother.
Killer, man. Take it easy, bro.
Hit me up.
You got
Cheers,
it.
man.
Ciao. Woo! Damn straight. Fucking A, guys. Fucking A. That's great. Oh, look at all these windows I got up. Working on some scripts here. Working on some ideas. Can't see these ideas, though. That was great, man. Fucking, I was supposed to meet up. We were supposed to meet up with Mike in Rochester when the illegals did come around, about a year and a half ago or whatever. Just because I knew Mike was a big death metal guy, Brutal Flesh Hoarder, of course. So, yeah, work popped up, man, and that's what happened. I had the tickets. I booked the wrong days. It was a fucking clusterfuck that day, and it sucks because I could have fucking, could have met you, Mike, and damn it all. But we will again soon, obviously, because, all us like-minded individuals will eventually meet up and hang out. So that kicked ass. Fucking A, man. And that's the one thing, too. Like, as much as we want to talk about death metal, I just want to talk about music, man. I just love fucking music, man. I'm a nerd. I am. I might not know a shit ton about a lot of bands. I just like a lot of fucking music. And oh my god, man, it's unbelievable. I actually had tickets to Chicago, was coming around at a local venue over in Lewiston at Art Park. We had tickets, my dad and I, to go see Chicago. He's a big Chicago guy also, man. I love fucking, even Chicago Transit Authority, the early Chicago stuff. Holy shit. Holy shit. I wish Peter Cetera, Karate Kid Peter Cetera, it's definitely a guilty pleasure. I don't mind it, but early Peter, that is unfucking believable. And the rest of the band, holy shit. But we just gotta love music, man. We just gotta stay focused, stay happy, keep seeking out music all the time, man. That's what I do. Constantly looking up shit, man. Francisco on Facebook here. He's in Cemeterian, I believe. He's got a couple hardcore bands too, and we were kind of going on a little run of like 80s skate, Texas, hardcore and skate punk and stuff like that, man. Oh my god, like the Faction. I don't know if you guys. Oh yeah, I guess I'm digging deep over into the punk side or whatever like that. But like JFA, the Faction, Crude SS, Negative Approach, Jerry's Kids, Poison Idea, like that kind of stuff. Gangrene, even early DRI, man. I fucking love early DRI. I like all DRI, but early DRI is fucking holy shit. But yeah, I got into all that in the last couple days, man, and thank you for those links, because I'm getting pumped again. And it's just fun to rediscover genres that, again, if you're not a fan of, or you are a fan of, and finding old shit. Like Raw Power, that was another band I'm just discovering now. I've always seen the name or whatever like that, but never looked into it. Jeff Gaither, looks like it was an inspired album cover. If you're familiar with Jeff Gaither, he did a lot of really cool metal album covers and skateboard decks and stuff like that. But it feels good, man, because it's old shit that I didn't listen to. So it almost brings me back to those days again, man. I just want to jump on my fucking skateboard and go booting around. It's fucking killer. But death metal. Thursday, we do have an interview. I haven't got the he's confirmed. We haven't gotten the confirmation back yet. So I'm hoping still he's gonna check, you know, the Facebook and the emails and whatever like that, just to be like, okay, cool, I'll be ready or whatever. So I can't announce it until we're ready. So maybe if we can't do him, then, you know, we'll figure something else out, because I actually had a really good time tonight, and it felt good to hang out with everybody again. It's been it's been a lot of fun. Scott McMasters, what's up, dude? I need to let's see here. Where are we here? Sorry. Need to go back into here. Ask about the wolf spider. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't check the messages while I'm doing this, just because of what we're doing, of just I can't keep track, unfortunately. But Scott, he plays in a band called Coat Hanger Abortion, if you're a fan of. I got to see them play in Buffalo again, at one of our friend Brian Pattison of Anthropic, which we had on last week there, the grindcore from Buffalo. He brought Coat Hanger in, and I was fucking pumped to see Coat Hanger. I'm a big fan, but you didn't play enough of Dying Breed album. I think you played one song or two songs off it. I needed more, man. Some of that disco shit. So Scott, next time you come around, man, I need to hear more Dying Breed album, man. That album blows my fucking mind. Actually, I was just cranking it like last week. It's so fucking good. So that was fun, man. That was that 7H Target. Oh shit, yeah, man. Those guys are fucking ridiculous. That's like brutal tech, like cyber tech death kind of shit, man. That's good stuff. I'm a big fan of that. So I hope everybody had a good time tonight, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you back on Thursday. And let's keep fucking, let's stay awesome. Share, like, support, do what you can, and listen to fucking good old death metal. Cool, guys. Appreciate it. I think I'm gonna have to get myself some more whiskey next time, because that was actually had a good time. Thank you.